Hello and welcome to the Author Speaker Podcast, sponsored by the Georgia Speakers Bureau, the Author Speaker Academy, and the Bill Gove Speech Workshop. My name is Steve Siebold. I'll be your host for this podcast. And since this is our first show, I want to just talk for a second about the purpose of the show. I've been a professional speaker, fee-paid speaker for 23 years. I've been in the business since 1997, and I semi-retired right around when COVID hit. Decided not to stop traveling the world. I got tired of being on airplanes all the time, and now I run the Bill Gove Speech Workshop along with my wife, Dawn Andrews, and Author Speaker Academy and Georgia Speakers Bureau, among other companies that we run here in Georgia. And so the purpose of this show really is to give accurate information about the professional fee-paid speaking business, as well as keynote speaking. Because what I found was when I started back in 1997, before I met Bill Gove and attended his workshop, I got a lot of really bad information. And along the years of my career, I've gone to National Speakers Association, other organizations, which are great organizations. I was a member for a long time, over 20 years. And I found that a lot of the people, they're nice people. They sure are nice. But a lot of the people don't really understand the business. You have people running some of these organizations. They're on boards, or they're volunteers, and they're on stage speaking, and they're making a fraction of what a top professional speaker would make because they really don't understand the business. So my purpose of this show really is to give accurate information based on 23 years in the business. I earned about $16 million in keynote speaking fees, more in training fees, more in consulting fees. We consulted companies like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Microsoft, GlaxoSmithKline, lots of big, organizations. We worked with their sales teams on mental toughness training to increase sales and increase market share. That's kind of my claim to fame. I did turnarounds for many, many years with underperforming divisions that would be, say, earning or doing with revenue of about, say, $500 million, and we'd have to get it up to $650 million or $700 million in 12 to 18 months. And that was our goal, and we were very, very successful at that. And the business has been very good to me over the years, and I really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy speaking. I just enjoy traveling after so many years of going to Australia and Europe and all over the place, as sometimes you do in this business. So that's the purpose of the show, is to give accurate information based on experience, not on something I read in a book. And I'm also connected, of course, through the Bill Gove Workshop and through 23 years in the business to pretty much every major speaker you've ever heard, I know, or have worked with, or have some kind of connection to. So I've got my hand on the pulse of the business, even though I'm not on the road all the time anymore, like I used to be. Really, this podcast is for people that want to enter the business and people that are in the business currently that want to make more money. Because that's typically the thing. You get started in this business, and if you don't really understand it, it's easy to earn far less than you're actually worth. And so this is really for aspiring speakers, maybe even people that are kicking the tires saying, hey, maybe you're an executive at a major company and you're sick of getting pushed around by a $50 billion organization. We hear that all the time. People come into the Bill Gove Speech Workshop. That's a keynote speakers workshop. If you're not familiar, the most successful keynote speakers workshop of all time. It's been in business since 1947. I'm a graduate. Zig Ziglar's a graduate. Bob Proctor's a graduate. Larry Wilson. I could just go on and on and on. It's the who's who of speakers. And we get executives all the time that come into the workshop and they'll say, you know what, I'm making $300,000-$400,000 a year, $500,000 a year, and I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of getting pushed around by a major corporation. Or they'll come in a lot of times when they turn 45 or 50 and they'll say, look, they've been trying to buy me out for the last 5 years because I'm too old and I'm too expensive, and they want to replace me with someone half my age at half the price. So this speaking thing looks like something maybe I could replace my income, but not have to worry about living under the thumb of a monster corporation. We get those people in all the time. And if you're one of those people, I think this is perfect for that, because how do you replace a $300,000 or $400,000 or even a $500,000 income, that you've built up over a period of a career, 15, 20, 30 years. How do you replace it? We can't drive Uber. You're not going to drive Uber, right? You're not going to go work at Walmart. You're not going to have a part-time side hustle probably, unless it's a really profitable one. But professional speaking, even part-time, there are people that earn that kind of money. And if you think I'm exaggerating, believe me, I'm not. Remember, professional speaking is the highest paid profession in the world. There's nothing that pays more. Now, unless you're a celebrity, if you're some big Hollywood actor, or you're a giant musician, or you're Kim Kardashian and you tweet something and get $1 million, I'm not talking about those people, okay? Those people are different, right? Elon Musk is a different story. But when it comes to occupations, comparing normal occupations, not extreme occupations, professional speaking is the highest paid profession out there. So could you make $300,000, $400,000 part-time in speaking? Oh, yes. Matter of fact, I know a fair amount of people that do. And could you go full-time? Sure, if you want to, or you can stay part-time, whatever you want to do. So anyone that's looking at, maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're a dentist, maybe you're a chiropractor, or a professional athlete that's just retired. We get a lot of professional athletes that come to the speech workshop, and they'll come in and they'll say, look, I was making a lot of money, but now I got hurt and I'm 30 years old and I want to make more money. Could I tell my stories about being on the gridiron for 10 years in the NFL, or playing Major League Baseball at the highest level, or I was an Olympic athlete? Could I transfer those stories into professional speaking? And the short answer is yes. Now, you got to know how to do it. There's something to it. It's not as easy as people think, like most things. But could it be done? Absolutely. Yes, you can do it. And we'll talk about how to do that during this podcast. I'm going to give it to you straight. Okay, if you've ever read any of my books, I've written 12 books on mental toughness, sold about 1.6 million copies. So my books are out there a little bit in the marketplace. If you've ever read any of my books, you know that I'm very straightforward. I'm very direct. Sometimes I get a lot of criticism, frankly. I do a lot of press, a lot of television, radio, print, press. And people attack me because they say, well, I'm too direct and, I'm not beating around the bush. I don't like beating around the bush, especially when it comes to getting business advice. Just give it to me straight. There's so much fluff out there and so many people out there talking about things that they have never done and really don't understand. And so this is going to be from the front line, okay? From someone who's done it for a long time, and as well as the friends I have in the business who have done it, their entire lives, okay? What to expect? Just straight information. Okay, you can expect straight information, straight to the point. Some of it you'll like, some of it you won't. Okay, but it'll be straight. At least you know the reality of this business. So let's talk about that to start out with just in the next couple of minutes here. What's the current state of the speaking business now that COVID-19, we're over 2 years into the COVID-19 pandemic. It's still out there, right? We're all sick of it. I'm included. I flew to Chicago the other day to see my mom for her birthday, and we had to wear the masks and all this stuff. You take the mask on when you're eating, you take it off when you're eating, you put it on afterwards. It's like, how does that make any sense? I don't know. I don't think it does, but you got to do it. And so we're all dealing with it, but it's still out there and it's holding speakers back from getting work. Are some conventions coming back? Yes. I've spoken at several this year. They're back. Are the audiences large? Not in my experience. They're not. Are companies second guessing having meetings? Yes. They don't want to be sued for people that get sick. There's all kinds of craziness going out there, but the state of the business is it's shaky. There's no question about it. Right now, it's shaky. Now, will it come back? Of course, it'll come back. Now, will it come back in its old form? I don't know for sure. No one knows. Never happened before, of course. I don't think so. And I think the difference is going to be, this is where it's headed, I believe. And I said this to the $1 Million Speakers Group at National Speakers Association, of which I've been a member for since its inception. I believe we started in 2009. You have to earn at least $1 million a year in speaking revenue to be a member. And I've been a member since 2009. And I said to the group when COVID hit and everything shut down, what a lot of them said was, "Oh, we're going to go on Zoom, charge the same fee for the conventions to the clients, and they won't care if it's Zoom or it's live." And I said, "You're living in a fantasy land. That will never happen. Yeah, you might get a couple. I might get a couple. Speaking is a live medium. It needs to be done live. Now, can you deliver information online? Yes, but most of us are not curing cancer in our speeches. We're doing 40 minutes. We're doing keynote speeches. You don't cure cancer in 40 minutes. You don't change someone's belief system in 40 minutes. All right? You motivate them. You might inspire them. You might shake them up. You might disturb them a little bit to get off their butts and go do something better. Those kinds of things. But do we change people's lives like a lot of people that don't understand the business in 40 minutes? Of course not. You don't change people's belief system in that short period of time. It's a complete fantasy. It's something a child would say that doesn't know any better. But a lot of people do repeat that. So they think, well, if we go on Zoom, I'm giving information the world has never heard before, and so it doesn't matter if it's on Zoom or it's live. Oh, baloney. These people have all heard this stuff before. We're not saying anything new. Now, the way we say it, the way we entertain them, the way we connect with them, the way we grab their attention, the way we wake the dead, we get the people that don't want to be there to pay attention. That comes from years of skill. It comes from training. It comes from practice. It comes from experience and skill. And it's a live skill. It's something that needs to really be done live. And so if you're making money on Zoom and you're listening to this and you're making 6 or 7 figures on Zoom, God bless you. I don't know anyone that's honest. But it will come back. It just may come back in different forms. It might be a little different. Maybe it's a hybrid, some Zoom. I'm doing a fair amount of speeches now, half Zoom, half live. We'll see what happens, but I think that's what we're hearing. Georgia Speakers Bureau, one of the companies we own, we book speakers for live events in Atlanta, in the Atlanta metro area. And what we're getting we're starting to get more client calls now, but they're saying half will be Zoom, half will be live, that type of thing. So we're looking for speakers. By the way, if you're interested, Georgia Speakers Bureau is gsblive.org. You can go to that site and you can apply to be in our Speakers Bureau if that's something you're interested in as well. I might as well mention that. And so how do you prepare for this new world of speaking in still, what's COVID-19 and hopefully post-COVID-19? And I would say this, I'll give it to you really straight. You're going to have to be a better entertainer than most speakers are. Not the top speakers. They're all great entertainers. But you're going to have to be better than you ever were before in terms of entertainment. Because if people are going to risk being in a room with 10,000 people or 5,000 people or 1,000 people and getting COVID, or maybe they don't even want to be there. They want to work at home now. They don't want to be at the office. They don't want to be at a convention. You're going to have to be better than you've ever been for them to show up. Which means you're going to have to learn more about entertainment. And so that's where you want to do. Build your speaking skills. Bill Gove used to always tell me, my late mentor and the father of professional speaking, the first president of the National Speakers Association, used to always say to me, Steve, you got to build your skills. It's not about marketing. It's about skills. If you're good enough, referrals will book you. And he was completely right. You got to be good. Work on getting good. And good means entertainment. It doesn't mean information. It means entertainment. Gathering information is a completely different process. But entertaining a live audience is not the easiest thing to do in the world, although when it's done well, it looks easy. It's not. And so the way to prepare to succeed for the future going forward in the speaking business, work on your entertainment skills. That's going to be the key thing. Work on learning how to entertain a live audience. That's what we teach at the Bill Gove Speech Workshop. If you want to check it out, speechworkshop.com. It's one of our sponsors for the podcast. Speechworkshop.com. Learn the skills that, Bill Gove taught Zig Ziglar and Bob Proctor and Mark Victor Hansen and Tony Alessandro and Jim Cathcart and Don Hudson and Jeannie Robertson, on and on and on since 1947. Right? But the bottom line is you're just going to have that entertainment, a level of entertainment that at some point is going to border on Las Vegas level entertainment. And we never used to say that before. We'd say, hey, look, we're the poor man's entertainer compared to Vegas. And while that may be somewhat true, still, we're going to have to just be better, more entertaining than we've ever been if we're going to get those audiences, if we're going to get those speeches and then get referrals for the next set of speeches, because this is a referral-based business. You can do all the marketing you want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the top speakers will all tell you it's referrals, 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 which means you got to be good. There's no other way. You can't fake it. You can't fake your way through this business, but if you're good, and here's the beautiful thing about this, and I'll end the show with this. If you're good on the platform, you learn how to entertain an audience, any audience, you can write your own ticket. You can live a life that most people only see in movies. It's incredible. I don't just mean the money. I don't mean that you can make a lot of money. I don't mean that. I do mean that in part, but you can also travel the world. You can, we get treated like kings and queens on the speaking circuit. I mean, it's a pretty good life. You'll be on television. I did 4 television shows just last week. If it's for you, if this is something you're really interested in, it's one of those professions that's better in reality than it is in fantasy. And I can't say that about many things I've seen in business, but this one really is. So if you're so inclined, if this sounds interesting to you and you really want to pursue professional speaking, I hope you'll subscribe to the podcast. Okay, we'll be sending out regular emails and doing this about once a week, and we'll give you the straight shots, straight information, resources. I'll have guests on the show, all kinds of different things to get you started, all for free. That's the new era, right? So I'll look forward to having you as a listener and even a viewer on the podcast. And I appreciate you stopping by to check out our first show. See you next episode.